broadcast Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.
Hello, very good morning to you and welcome to Newsline. We're broadcasting from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo, and our guest this morning is none other than the very inimitable and the vociferous Dinesh Gunawardena, politician. We'll just stop at that because it's got so many descriptions. Good morning to you, Mr. Gunawardena.
Good morning, Faraz.
And thank you so much for being on Newsline. Although I do wish that if you are the leader of the opposition, I understand that you will be given a house in Colombo, and hopefully that house will be sort of in Stanmore Crescent and this sort of in this area, which will make it much easier for you to come onto this program on time. Do you think you'll become the leader of the opposition? Should you be the leader of the opposition?
Leader of the opposition, yeah, why not?
Well, you're the biggest group. Why are you not the official leader of the opposition?
We have been deprived by the Honourable Speaker's ad hoc decisions, very unreasonable. Because the compromise, we are the opposition. Active position, policy-wise, we are the opposition to government.
Right.
And we are established.
Right.
While he is recognizing Honourable Sambandhan,
Yeah.
as the leader of the opposition, who's continued to support and vote with the government, created by the government. How can it be? They call this parliamentary democracy.
It's like some sort of fairy tale.
It is. It's like a merry-go-round.
Honorable Lanka said that he had no desire to be party to a circus of clowns. He was far from the truth.
I think he would have foreseen what's coming.
Right.
Though he managed even with 8 members as leader of the opposition, when the TLF left parliament, Mr. Bandaranaike accepted as the TLF leader. That is because they had the numbers more than the SLP. Today it's a different scenario.
There's a charge to say, there's some sort of perception and opinion that this speaker is perhaps the most partisan speaker in contemporary political history in this country. Would you agree?
In a way I would agree, but I'm very sad about the speaker because he announces that he is the most impartial speaker and takes partial decisions on the leader of the opposition. Very important, not only for parliament, for the people of the country.
But what is his official rational explanation as to why you are not why your group is not the main recognized official opposition?
Of course, he says we accept that the numbers are more, that we are the true opposition, having the mandate of the country, virtually defeating the government, and bringing the UNP and the SLP to number 3.
Yeah.
And the speaker says there is some arithmetic problem I think the speaker is having, sorry to say.
Yeah.
He definitely cannot take the basic arithmetic. And you see now, the speaker goes and lands among the children in Matale playground. They're enjoying Aurudam. Surely the speaker should have had some advice to say, I am on state expense, please take some other empty playground. This is the way that these people are behaving today.
Insensitive.
Insensitive, they don't care a damn for the people and the country and parliament.
It certainly appears that the power has gotten to their heads. But now I want to get on to this point because it's important that we clear this before we go on. And that is, you see, the problem is that, isn't the problem that you, all of you all, the JO, all contested from the same one UPFA. After the election, you all have decided that 50 plus people will go and sit separately. But then, isn't it, don't you have to really resign from that party and then contest on your own, come out on in a different party? Isn't that how it's supposed to be done?
No, let us see. Mr. Bandaranaike contested under the UNP, left the UNP, came and sat in the opposition. He did not have to and later on formed a new party.
Yeah.
This is the history of events.
Yeah.
LSSP leader did not accept leader of the opposition for 3 years. No one was recognized.
Right.
In Lok Sabha today, no one is recognized because you have to have a minimum of 10%.
Right.
Though the Congress is the largest group.
What does it say in our constitution?
Our constitution does not say anything. The speaker has always, the speakers of a country hitherto have recognized the largest group at the moment.
But isn't it a bit anomalous when you say Prime Minister, member of the UPFA, and leader of the opposition, member of the UPFA? It doesn't make sense.
Not UPFA,
Well, that's
UNF.
Yes, UNFG.
Virtually,
Yeah.
you know, the Prime Minister has on his, I guess on his request, got the Speaker to recognize 16-member TNA as opposition. How could it be? I mean, this is becoming a joke.
But you all went to the same school. It looks like somebody missed on the maths class.
So many of us have gone to the same school and the same class. But the whole problem is not the PM, the arithmetic is with the Speaker.
And so the Speaker has, in his wit and in his wisdom, has not made you all the official opposition.
Now he is depriving us. Now, there was the leader of the opposition who did not raise a word when the electronic voting system went fat. It gave a wrong result. It is we who raised so many issues like that. I mean, if you have a leader of opposition just to say yes to a government, this is not the Queen's opposition that we are talking of. The great traditions of the British House of Commons, Erskine May, all that is gone astray today because the Speaker wants to have someone to say yes to the government as leader of the opposition.
Isn't the Speaker acting on instructions from his Prime Minister?
Maybe, but on speakers have, on most matters, speakers also have had their independent decisions to make. Hitherto, the speakers, we have had election, I want to tell, election of Honorable Naika as the leader of the opposition, there was problems. But Honorable E.L. Senanayake decided, we recognize Honorable Naika. When the TULF left, had the TULF returned, he would have again recognized the TULF. You know, so many instances like that. Our members are being deprived of their role to play. Our numbers are being ignored by the Speaker in committees. Time allocation. Faraz, the joke of it was, we move a vote of no confidence on the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
And the time allocated to us is less than the time allocated to these 16 plus members that the Speaker recognizes. This is the biggest joke in parliamentary history. Had
But
we
now-
protested, we would have not had the debate.
Yeah.
So we had to maneuver and get the time that we could get and still bat. That was how the debate went on. I am really sad about this Speaker who's supposed to stand well above others.
Yeah. Now then, even the pen's flying off here, because I was about to ask you about the other thing. The cabinet is in crisis.
Cabinet is in crisis. It's been in crisis for some time.
Yeah.
President taking a tough stand, dissolving the Economic Affairs Committee headed by the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Minister of Finance says it was never dissolved.
Yeah.
Next week he goes and apologizes and says, oh yes, I did not attend cabinet so I didn't know.
Right.
Cabinet ministers voting against the Prime Minister,
Yes.
saying we have no confidence on the Prime Minister.
And yet,
Prime Minister wanting them sacked.
yeah.
They're not being sacked. President can't sack them. Prime Minister,
And the Prime Minister can't sack the ministers,
ministers,
and the President can't sack the Prime Minister.
where in the world do we see cabinet of ministers of this nature? Where do we, this, it's
Magical Sri Lanka.
not only magic,
Land like no other.
no other, it's a sad story for our country.
Small miracle.
It's a sad story. Day by day we are collapsing. That is the end of it. They'll show numbers, they'll have arguments and the carnival goes on, but day by day our country is collapsing. That is the sad part. So each politician as well as each political party has to play a much more serious, responsible role, because the country is in crisis. Cabinet being in crisis, one can understand.
Yeah.
But the country is in crisis. Economy, governance, administration. No one knows who's running government.
So it really is in a crisis.
It is. It is in
So
crisis. You have a minister today, he votes against the Prime Minister and he continues to be a minister.
It's a huge charade.
It's all right. Who will believe such minister or the Prime Minister if you have a discussion with an international organization? Who will believe?
And why did Dominga Dissanayake not vote? Why was he absent?
Dominga Dissanayake being absent, I think he should answer. Yeah, there are more than Dominga, so many were absent.
Yeah.
I think about 20 odd were absent.
26.
26.
26.
Absent.
Yeah.
Absent on a vote of no confidence.
Yeah.
The vote of no confidence is on the Prime Minister. Very serious issue about the bond scam.
Yes, over 90% of that was about the bond.
So only those who can come and vote for him has approved. The rest have rejected the Prime Minister. Whether you vote against or whether you abstain, you have voted against. That is what it means. Otherwise you must come and vote for him. You can't say, I did not come, sir, because I didn't want to displease you. No, you're not becoming of a member of parliament.
What does this all mean for our country then? Does it mean that for the next 18 months or thereabouts until the next elections deal, that we're going to simply splutter along? Chug along, splutter along?
Of course, the numbers of the government are diminishing for us. There is 76 who has opposed.
Yeah.
They have lost the two-third majority in Parliament. The 76 continues. Constitution cannot be touched. That is, you are more than 75. Constitution, not a word can be changed. Only Ranil Wickremesinghe and his team can accept Sambandhan's 10 points to change the constitution, but he can't. Now he's stuck.
Now he's stuck.
That is one side.
Right.
And the side is that government is in crisis because they have lost the mandate in the country. Mahinda Rajapaksa has had a sweep at the local government elections.
A sweep ticket.
Sweep. He just swept the polls.
But he didn't get over 50, he didn't get 50 plus 1 in many places.
Yes.
Overall he got about 43.
43, but then more than 210 councils have now gone to the Pohot tour.
Yeah.
Of more than 210 councils. That is
But he's
governments.
not even a member of the Port Tour.
He leads the Pohot tour.
How can you lead without being a member?
He can lead. President led the Hansa. Hansa not being a member, and left the Hansa and joined the Hansa. So this is our election law. This is our election commission. This is how our country is behaving. No other country you can do it.
Do you think we need real reform of our whole system? A real one, not like this 19th Amendment which has got all sorts of holes in it.
I think you are correct. I fully agree. Real overhaul of the system, a genuine one that will serve the country.
But are there 100 and, I suppose you need a 50 simple majority, so are there 113 good, fit and proper men and women who are willing to commit to having a real proper overhaul of the Constitution?
I think very much, because everyone now realizes the flaws of this Constitution, how it functions, the dangers that are emerging. It's high time we correct now. We can't dissolve Parliament. We're stuck.
We're stuck.
But are we going to drown ourselves? I mean, other parliaments have, in such crisis, assembled and amended and dissolved Parliament to give the people a mandate.
But sadly we lack that here.
But now we should take matters seriously. We not like just 24-hour rush through amendments without seeing. We make election laws to suit ourselves, each party, and when the results come, they say, the result we expected, this is not the result that we want, the result that can be worked on.
I'm surprised, because we are a nation that has a religion called cricket, and in cricket you don't get another chance when you're out. You're out, you're out. And on that note, we'll go for a short break. Don't go away, after all this is Newsline.
Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.
And welcome back to Newsline. We're in conversation with Mr. Dinesh Gunawardena. And Mr. Dinesh Gunawardena, the cabinet is in crisis. The whole country seems to be going from one crisis to another. So what does the future hold for us, the people? Are we going to splutter along, sort of chug along, missing a beat here, missing a beat there? What about all these undertakings given in terms of corruption and current corruption? What's happening to that? And basically, what does this leave us, the people? We've given you our vote, and
it's a very unstable situation.
Yeah.
I agree. Economy is in instability, government in instability. I mean, the ministers come with figures, but investment is not coming. So we are in one of the worst crises that we have faced. The banks can bust at any moment. That is what is happening. I would like to recall the cabinet crisis of 1959, when my father and William Silva was in cabinet. There was a cabinet strike asking Prime Minister Bandanayake to sack them.
Right.
Otherwise they don't come. Now that was the first cabinet strike.
Right.
After all, Mr. Bandanayake was able to wriggle out of the situation when these two ministers resigned and went. Secondly, in 76, 5 and 6, Dr. Nembarera and Dr. Collins had a similar situation. And Ms. Bandanayake changed their portfolios and removed them because they were ready to go. Now, the crisis today, they say a good constitution was brought, 19th Amendment brought miracles, the best governance form.
Yeah.
Why are we in this type of crisis? Everywhere there is, law and order is collapsing.
An unprecedented 47 separate, disparate organizations came together to form this Yapalanay movement.
Yapalanay.
Yeah. So what happened?
But Yapalanay was abandoned the very first month, I must say, because Yapalanay brought the Hansaya to power, not the SLAP leader.
Yeah.
When Yapalanay leader decided to abandon the Hansaya and go SLAP, that was the first deviation. Secondly, when Finance Ministry went without the central bank, that or the beginning of the end of the Yapala. None of these 46 people realized, who are condemning today, who are criticizing today, they don't foresee the gravity of an issue. It is not personalities. It is the gravity, the danger that you create. You make an amendment to a constitution, how to win? You have an election, results come, then everyone is saying, the result is not the way that we thought.
And therefore, we'll just carry on doing what we want to.
We'll carry on doing what we want, but the world is watching us. Our country is watching us, from the paddy farmer right up to the top businessman. They lost heart today. This is a sad story. Politicians can have the numbers in parliament. Though they don't have the mandate, they can have the numbers. This is what we are in today.
Petrol is in crisis, the economy is in crisis, coconuts is in crisis because it's over 100 rupees, and one is wondering when these crises will abate.
Very unlikely. I don't think this government has a clear program to come out of this crisis.
Right.
It is a national crisis where all of us should take it seriously, so starting from the president downwards, not only the prime minister, that this crisis is serious, and listen at least to professional viewpoint than to this way they are running government, adding ministers, increasing the number of ministers. Faraz is not going to help in any matter.
Indeed.
They can't decide, they can't solve the issue. This is the most serious challenge we are having today. There has to be a new approach, new commitment, a new example shown by the political leadership of the country.
But how can you? Do you really have such hope? Because I seem to remember one Arjuna Mahendran from the short 18-month tenure that Vikram Singh served in the 2001 or 2 or whatever it was. And he was chairman of the BOI then. And there was some controversy then. In this time round, the cabinet colleagues, including President Sirisena, raised their concern that this is the wrong sort of chap and it may not augur well for the Prime Minister's own career. But nevertheless, they went ahead, and the Prime Minister defended his friend almost tooth and nail. And now we find that this chap has conveniently gone to Singapore and not coming back to help the police with their inquiries in this country. And yet the Prime Minister suffers a huge electoral defeat at the local polls, and yet he comes to Parliament and sails through a vote of no confidence. Something is radically wrong. What is it?
John Mahendran was not only the former governor of the central bank, but also the advisor to the Prime Minister after he was removed by the President, or he was not reappointed.
Yes.
Prime Minister took him, knowing he was facing these serious charges
So
of
what's the
violation.
connection between him? Were they both in the same class?
I have my doubts.
Okay, so you can't remember him.
Can't
I've got a question for you about that, but
I can't
I
remember.
mean, he was also in the same class. So what is the connection? Why is he going? Why has he put the mile? Gone the extra mile to accommodate, protect?
I
His
can't
friend.
fathom. I can't fathom why, but it has happened because Arjun Mahendran is a Singaporean citizen, and lot of political maneuvering take place, and economic deals take place in Singapore,
Right.
and this government is, I guess, totally dependent on
Can I-
such
I-
outsiders.
I think-
now the UL, Lanka,
Yeah.
has now had a new board.
Yes.
Is it going to pull this out of The crisis was
What
nonsense.
is the, why have, I know this is all about planes, okay? But if you do forgive me, we have the Air Force commander, who's a very nice chap, who's been on our programs and everything else. But for the life of me, I can't understand, apart from the fact that he oversees planes, and Sri Lankan Airlines also has planes, what is the other speciality? And what is Manu Tituvelu doing there? He seems to be everywhere. Is it, well, after I asked you this question, is Manu Tituvelu being given all these appointments, along with Tilangu Singh and so on? Is it to keep Chandrika Kumaratunga at bay, just to keep her happy? Is it? Manu Tituvelu seems to be...
CVK's choice.
Yes,
Right through.
always CVK.
Yeah, but there are enough young professionals who are capable, who are in speciality on these subjects who should be brought in. I don't think these people who have mismanaged before, who has failed, should be brought into such...
Well, the thing is, we mustn't forget that we had President Rajapaksa, who in his own wit and his own wisdom thought that it's time to give his brother-in-law a chance and opportunity. And although his brother-in-law was a planter, he planted him as the chairman of Sri Lankan Airlines, which has turned out to be a disaster, really. But don't these people ever learn? That's my point.
Yeah, we should get these people to learn. How can a planter run an airline? And whether it's done by our government, we should now open a new chapter.
That's right.
The professionals must, I will appeal to the professionals to awaken themselves. Come out. You know, these are for all, not for the politicians. This is not a country only for politicians.
But the professionals are being left behind.
They must show their, be heard. Their voice should be heard.
Now,
not
the
just
last
say-
time on my program, I asked you if you were able to pose a question in the House, and that was to ask the Prime Minister to let you know, or ask the Minister of Foreign Affairs to let you know how many times Arjuna Mahendran was a guest of the High Commissioner, our representative in Singapore. I wonder if you've had an opportunity to do that yet.
Yeah, I think our good friend Vasudev Nanakar asked that question.
Right.
Of course, questions are asked, we pose resolutions, those are never answered.
Never answered.
You deviate and do come up with different arguments by the government.
Last and final question.
Right.
In the last minute. Ranil Wickramasinghe, Anwar Bandaranaike and Dinesh Gunawardena all went to the same school and were in the same class. Can you tell me, did Ranil play the same games in class as he is now playing?
Now he's playing political games.
Was he ever the class monitor?
No, I don't remember. But he was a jovial man.
Was he?
Well read.
Last and final question. I've been dying to ask this question from some politician of substance like you. In all honesty, is Ranil Wickramasinghe a rogue?
That is, Ranil Wickramasinghe has to be proved to be a rogue. You know, he says all this is happening because of the people in whom he gave trust and responsibility has done wrong. So it's for matter of court to decide.
Dinesh Gunawardena, thank you very much for being on Newsline, and we look forward to welcoming you on our program, on our network, one more time, anytime actually. And that's the way it was on Newsline. Take care. God bless.
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.